lower class and social slime. They don't matter, genocide. Sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of air. Fuck them back, it's only for they bomb. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids. No one makes countries lie to your face, fight and die. Cause God forgives. Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower class and social side, they don't matter, genocide. Sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. See the shit, force of air. Fuck them back, that's only fair. They bomb, they shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids. No one makes countries lie to your face, fight and die. Cause God forgives. Yeah. Coming back around again.
Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ron Stevens. This is Game On right here on UCY.tv. It is May 3, 2016, and I'm your host for the next hour. I want to say this one right away off the bat. I should know more about Shakespeare. You know, Shakespeare said, you know, first kill all the lawyers. Absolutely correct. Although I don't recommend anybody go out and kill a lawyer. Kill the legal system. How's that? And make all the lawyers garbage men or something useful. Make them dig the ditches. Something useful anyways, other than what they're doing. And, you know, the other one is, of all base passions, fear is the most accursed. And that's absolutely true. What holds everybody back from doing what they need to do is fear. When I was trying to get people to run in local elections, how easy is this? Throw $100 in, run. Everybody's complaining about one thing or another. Complaining about their hydro bills, complaining about their water bills, complaining about all these windmills and that. Well, fine. Then run. Oh, I couldn't do something like that. Well, then shut up. Plain and simple, shut up. Well, we were going to do a protest. Shut up with your protest. Well, we should petition our MPP. Shut up with that. You know, it's all based on fear. That's what holds everybody back. Fear. Fear, 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 fear. I'm afraid. I might get in trouble. I don't want to get in trouble. Somebody else do it. You know, this idea that Donald Trump is going to save America is the most retarded thing I ever heard of. And I don't care about Donald Trump, and I don't care about, you know, I mean, this is the dog and pony show. I never seen such a more ridiculous show. I mean, I've seen some seriously pathetic political shows, but this one is one for the books. This is absolutely for the books. But we'll see how this shakes out. Doesn't matter how it shakes out. We're in serious, serious trouble. Now, I see a headline here. This is out of Ontario. Now, our premier is a lesbian. Our ex-health minister is gay. Our Minister of the Environment and Climate Change is gay. And Yuri Brezhnev, who was KGB supposedly, who came to Canada and spoke in Canada and the United States in the 1970s. One of the things, he goes through the whole process, which is just about complete now, about how to take down a country and have the country be happy they were taken down, basically, is to change norms, normalize things which would not be normal. And so one of those things that would not normally be normal would be very explicit sex education to extremely young children. In the past would not have been normal, nor would have been put up with. But over time, these things creep into our systems, and people are weakened, their minds, their spines, their moral attitudes are weakened, and then they can implement this shit. So, we have our, one of the people that was, I forgot his name off the top of my head, but Levin, I think his name was maybe, who was working on the curricula, the sex ed curricula. Turns out he's a pedophile. And now I see 2 more Liberal MPPs linked to sexual harassment. Wynne admits. That's our premier. We live in a very strange time and a very strange world right now where things which were never would be accepted as normal. Now, let's see here. Premier Kathleen Wynne admits she has dealt with a couple of instances of sexual harassment involving at least 2 Liberal MPPs, but is keeping the circumstances and names secret. That's because she believes in open government. Transparency is the word I think they like to use, but they're about as transparency as a chalkboard. They're as transparent as a chalkboard. They're pathetic people. They're psychopaths. They're liars. Well, that's what a psychopath does. They're sociopaths, which are liars. That's what they do. And they're very good at it. And we don't hold their feet to the fire, so they get away with it. The situations are confidential, so I'm not going to go into the details, the Premier said Tuesday amid repeated questions from reporters seeking more information. The conversations have been confidential for various reasons, not the least of which is that people who brought complaints forward were not looking for a public process, when added at the York Mills Collegiate. Her remarks came 2 weeks after she proposed a code of conduct for MPPs in the wake of controversy over a vulgar sex joke told by progressive conservative MPP Jack McLaren. Wynne said progressive conservative leader Patrick Brown should consider booting McLaren from his caucus for the remark about Ottawa area Liberal MP Karen McCrimmon, raising questions about what disciplinary action was taken against the Premier's own Liberal MPPs. I think there's certainly a double standard, Brown told reporters, calling on Wynne to be more forthcoming. Transparency, there's that word, is always a good thing, something which you, the public, will never experience. The Premier's admission is confirmation that sexual harassment problems in the Liberal circle at Queen's Park, which she mentioned in November 2014 after Liberal leader Justin Trudeau suspended 2 caucus members involved in elected politicians. It is unclear whether the offending MPPs are men or women, if they're still in office, or whether there have been new instances in the last 18 months. I've dealt with them in various ways, Wynne said, noting her party has its own code of conduct for dealing with sexual harassment. Well, you don't have your own code of ethics. Maybe your party does, but you're the governing, so to speak, party. You are the so-called government. We don't really care what your code of ethics are, okay? We really don't. If there's something wrong in the government, then put it on the table. Anyways, NDP leader Andrea Horwath revealed she has raised concerns with fellow party leaders at Queen's Park over complaints of inappropriate touching. Unfortunately, I'm not surprised, she said, referring to Wynn's admission. Let's see. Some of my members have talked about feeling uncomfortable with inappropriate touching that's happened around this place. This is not the 50s, it's 2016, and people need to be respectful of each other's individual space and be respectful of women's sexuality. Wynn's government last year launched a public campaign against sexual assault, including widely praised advertising videoism, and passed legislation requiring employers to take such problems more seriously. Wynn said she had not asked any MPs accused of harassment to get sensitivity training on their own, as Brown has done as a condition for McLaren's return to the legislature. No, I have not done that, but I will say that our whole caucus is having training, the Premier said. Brown told the Star that McLaren has started his sensitivity training, which is prompted by his offensive remarks at a Men's Night Cancer charity fundraiser in Carp, a town outside of Ottawa. It is well underway, and when it's completed, we'll let you know. Wynn said April 15th that if McLaren were a member of my caucus, we'd be having a very different conversation about whether he would remain a member of the caucus or not. But of course, Wynn, who is the governing premier, doesn't want to release any names or any situations or any gender of those in her own caucus who apparently have not been acting properly. You can't have one set of rules for one group because you can get a political advantage and then have another set of rules for your own group. Or said her caucus and NDP staffers are getting training on what's not acceptable, and that she has not had sexual harassment or violence issues involving any of her caucus members, or they haven't been caught yet. These are supposed to be adults. These are the leaders of the three major parties here. And does it sound a little bit like these people haven't grown up yet? And they're running the place? I mean, these people are running around making partnerships agreements with and signing treaties and everything with the UN and signing carbon credit things with California, and they're having sensitivity training. And they probably have little safe spaces. These people are mentally deranged. We got to get them out of here. I mean, I'm a firm believer you say what you mean and you mean what you say, and if you don't like it, move along. Thank you very much. Don't talk to me about I'm feeling uncomfortable. I have no intentions of wandering around my life worrying about whether or not you or anybody else feels comfortable. Simple as that. Very simple as that. Like, bite me. Now, we have some other stuff going on here, as always. Now, they have this DNA testing. They have they had the hair testing. They have the breathalyzers. They have the radar guns. And we just keep finding more and more problems that none of this stuff actually works and that people are being screwed over. Nova Scotia stops hair testing on child protection cases in the wake of mother risk probe. An independent review deemed that hair test results are both inadequate and unreliable. That's what we find out now with our radar guns. That's what we find out with the breathalyzers. And how many people have had their lives ruined by this nonsense until they finally get caught? And as far as the radar guns go, apparently there are millions and millions of tickets, mine included, which don't hold any water. And we have to fix that. You know, we've been just basically really stupid. But we got conned. Um, um, because we didn't question enough. And we've let this go way, way too long. We've allowed ourselves to get put into a very dangerous corner here by not speaking up when we should have. And we have to change that as well. Let's see what else we can find around here. You know, I have a friend that he has to go to court tomorrow, and I've been looking today for. I record a lot of my calls, and I did do a call to the Law Society of Upper Canada, which is basically a private society who's in charge of the lawyers in that. And all those lawyers are in charge of are the ones who write all of the rules and regulations, write all the legalese into the rules and regulations, which steals so much from so many. And I've been going through file after file after file, trying to find this, and I haven't managed to find it yet. But I did run across some calls that I made, and I've been meaning to do it for a long time. Some of these calls go back to 2010 and that. And some of them are very candid. Some of the calls I've had with government officials, they've been quite candid, really. And I've been wanting to do it a long time, and I guess I'm going to have to start pumping these things up on YouTube because it's just some of the research I've been doing over the years and some of the calls I've made, and I'm hopeful that some of these calls help people gain a better understanding because these are calls with government officials, not low-level government officials either, and get those out so people can wrap their brains around it. So tonight after the show, I got to go back again and try and track these. There's two in particular that I would like to get to this friend of mine, and one is the call I made to the Law Society of Upper Canada, where eventually the gentleman I'm talking to, the Law Society, goes, "Holy crap." That's what he said, "Holy crap. Do you know what this means?" "Yep, I know what it means. Do you know what it means?" And, but see, and explained it to him, because he asked me how I know these things. How do I think the way I think? Simple. Ask the question, find an answer. It leads you to a question, find the answer, and keep on going. And I explained to him his part was that he went into this school just wanting to get his degree and get out the other side, and failed to ask any intelligent questions all the way through. So you allowed yourself to get propagandized, hoodwinked, suckered, and you got your certificate and thought you were knowledgeable, when in fact you were dumber than a box of rocks when you came through that. You just believed what you were told, and if you do as you're told, then you'll make a decent living, you think. So I'm going to have to get on that and get some of those things up on YouTube. And let's see here. Let's see. A teacher hangs, this is, where is this, in Georgia? I mean, we are living in totally bizarre times. Teacher hung 5-year-old from chalkboard as punishment, grandmother says. Well, I got to go read that, don't I? I suppose I don't, but I'm gonna. A special needs boy was reportedly found dangling from the chalkboard, screaming and in distress. The boy said it wasn't the first time that the teacher had used this method of punishment. And this is May 3rd, the Associated Press. Georgia woman says her grandson's teacher made him hang by his belt from the top of the chalkboard as punishment. Tracy Davis told WSB TV that on Thursday, the principal at Shoal Creek Elementary School in Conyers found Davy's 5-year-old grandson who has special needs hanging from a chalkboard. The principal said the boy was screaming and in distress. Davy says the State Division of Family and Children's Service interviewed the boy and learned this wasn't the first time the teacher had done this. She says the school told her it was disciplining 2 teachers and a paraprofessional because of the incidents. Rockdale County Schools tells the news station in a statement that the district takes all matters of this kind very seriously and is currently conducting, yes, you're going to hear it here, currently conducting a full investigation. This is beyond stupid. Let's see. I don't know who this guy is. That I'm not going to worry about. And I'm not going to worry about that. Here's one here. This is one story I sent my friend. Now, he's not going to court for breathalyzer test, but I just sent him this. Rejected breathalyzer test could have great significance across Ontario. Really? An Ontario judge's findings call into question the integrity of the breath testing for impaired drivers in Ontario, a lawyer says. A Brampton judge has acquitted a driver who failed a roadside breath test after accepting a former government sinus evidence that the device is faulty and the process used in Ontario is flawed. Defense lawyer Richard Posner, who represented the man, said the judge's findings not only call into question the integrity of the breath testing system in Ontario, but also the reliability of guilty verdicts in many other drinking and driving cases throughout the province. So again, how many people's lives have been ruined or destroyed because of this system that they use to collect money from you? Okay? The police are highwaymen. Make no mistake about it. Now, where is that other one? Well, I hope I didn't lose that one. I do have one in here somewhere about the radar guns in Ontario, somewhere. Not sure where. I hope I didn't lose it. But anyways, same problem. They're not tested properly. And yet they're running around and handing out tickets all over the place. Why? Raise money. Now, over in Winnipeg, Canada, this is bloody amazing, this one. I can't remember how big Winnipeg is. It's somewhere between 500,000 and 600,000 people, I think. Let's go find out real quick. I think it's about that big. Population of Winnipeg is what? Population Winnipeg. Let's try this out and see if we can find it, because where the hell is your population numbers here? That's the land area. Population. City. 663,000. thousand people. And Metro has 730,000 people. And these are all people. And if you live in Winnipeg, don't get mad at me. It's just kind of a silly little joke on my part. Why is there 663 people in Winnipeg, which is in the middle of freaking nowhere? And most people will say people either their cars broke down, their wagons broke down, or they got tired and didn't want to go forward and didn't want to go backwards, and they just called that home. Because Winnipeg is a city of 750,000 people, metro, that is growing up out of a prairie in the middle of freaking nowhere. But it is the exact center of North America. Could be a reason why it's there, huh? And there is a reason why it's there. Exactly. But anyways, Winnipeg is doing pretty good for themselves. There's Metro, but this just says City of Winnipeg, so it's 660,000 people. And the Winnipeg police rake in the highest ever from photo radar tickets. The City of Winnipeg, the highwayman, pulled in $14 million out of the pockets of the people in Winnipeg in a year. $14 million of disposable income was taken out of the pockets of the people of Winnipeg in 1 year by the highwaymen. Police. Now, I don't know what that is per capita, a lot. But if you take out all those below the age of driving and all those that don't drive and all those that are too old to drive, and you've probably got, I would think, max 55, 60% of the people that would be eligible to get a ticket. And out of their pockets, they took $14 million. Not from assault charges or thievery charges or anything like that, strictly from photo radar. And that's disgusting. That is absolutely disgusting. Anyways, a recent budget shows the Winnipeg services brought in more money in 2014 than ever before when it comes to photo enforcement. $14 million. The reasons? Higher fines for speeding and construction in school zones. Reduced speed limits of 30 kilometers came into effect near schools across the city in the fall, while fines and construction zone fines were doubled last May. As well, drivers started facing fines for failing to slow down when passing construction zones, whether workers were present or not. So even though there's nobody at the construction site and there's no way that you could possibly run over a construction worker because there's nobody at the site, you're still bound for the ticket. Speeding past a construction zone, that's a ticket of $300, and speeding in a school zone will set you back $180 to $300, which is kind of odd, don't you think? Because if you're speeding in a school zone or speeding in a construction zone, and the construction zone ticket is $300, and a school zone will set you back possibly $180 to $300, but as little as $180. Now, that's discriminatory, don't you think? Anyways, the total revenue from photo enforcement amounts to 25% more than the previous year. So they've raised 25% more in 1 year from photo radar tickets than the year before. Well, that's good for the cops, good for the city, I suppose, but it's bad for the people. because all it really is another tax, them putting their hand in your pocket and taking out your discretionary income. Now, if you're a single mother or something, or a single father, I suppose, and you're trying to run a household on your own, and you got some kids in that, and you're running back and forth here and there and all over the place, and you just happen to run through a construction zone and don't quite slow down to exact number that they want you to be running at, even though there's nobody on the construction zone, or the school is closed, or it's nighttime and there's nobody around the school, the $300 ticket could impact someone running on the edge, so to speak, working low-income jobs, and almost every job in Canada now has become a low-income job because the cost of everything has risen so high and your wages have just stayed dead. So $300 for most people at this point in time is a real kick in the pants. Even though nobody's caused anybody any harm. You got these bozos sitting around in the cars we bought and paid for, sitting in the uniforms we bought and paid for, pointing these damn radar guns at people that we bought and paid for, and then drag them into court and suck another $300 out of their pocket or more, depending. When are people going to get it together? How the hell can you pull $14 million out of the pockets, and this is not for any other crime? It's just because you broke a rule, didn't hurt anybody. There may not have been anybody around the school zone or the construction zone. They managed to steal $14 million in 1 year. Pretty good business, I dare say. You know, if all I got to do is buy a few cars and some uniforms and buy them these little radar guns and set them up on the street and clear myself or bring in $14 million a year, I would say we got us a pretty good business going. It's legalized theft. But the entire legal system is based on the idea of theft of your rights, theft of your freedom, theft of your labor. It's all about theft, and they sell it under the idea of safety. They always sell this stuff under safety. We, the government, have a responsibility to make sure that everyone is safe. And every time they bring out that safety thing, you know they're digging in your pocket just a little bit deeper. Let's see what it's got to say here. The amount of the fines, let me see, where were we? Total revenue from Florida enforcement amounts to 25% more than the previous year. The amount of fines being collected by police even surprised Councillor Scott Gillingham, who chairs the police board. Well, you're surprised. Why? You're on the police board. You pay the police. You need to bring in income. These are all corporate entities. Why are you surprised? You should be happier than hell, which I'm sure you are. Didn't say he was sadly surprised. Just said he was surprised. I don't know that the surface could have anticipated what would happen and the behavior of our drivers, said Gillingham, the counselor for St. James, Brooklyn, Weston. The fourth quarter report from 2014 does show that, unfortunately, there were too many people that were speeding through school zones. Now, the school zones, I would think in Winnipeg, would have been the same because they said they dropped them to 30 kilometers an hour. It would have likely been 40 kilometers an hour. That, I believe, is it used to be the general speed limit through school zones. And it's not about the speed limit through the school zones. It's about the responsibility of the driver. Okay? And again, what it is, it's all up to the police anyways. Everything's at their discretion. Right? And so, you know, it's just another game that's being played. Gillingham said he doesn't know if the increase has to do with the drivers simply not catching on to the speed limit changes. Some drivers, like Joseph Garcia, admit they sometimes forget to slow down in areas with reduced speed limits. However, Garcia said he understands the importance of slowing down in school zones. Is something that you have to take seriously, said Garcia, who lives near Grant Avenue. Now, I don't know what Garcia has to do with this story. He's a driver, apparently. Other drivers say they've learned the hard way. David Hazlitt said he slowed down since he received a hefty fine for speeding through a construction zone a couple of years ago. Age had slowed me down, he said with a chuckle. I don't have as much aggression, so I don't have to be anywhere fast. So the police seem to be doing very well. They seem to be adding more and more police all the time and stealing more and more money all the time. I really don't know. I haven't heard of that many people being run over at crosswalks and stuff. I mean, obviously, every now and again, somebody's going to get hit, either whoever's fault it is. But this idea of putting fines up, it doesn't bear out except for somebody's collecting more money, plain and simple. Now we have a bunch of doctors here. Doctors given second chance to practice. 250 doctors across Canada disciplined in the past 15 years for patient boundary offenses. Don't you like this politically correct language for patient boundary offenses? That's quite interesting. Sad use of language, but still. Okay, Winnipeg. We hang out here in the prairies for a bit. I got some weird stories here. Winnipeg teen calls into question school's sexist dress code. Oh God, no! I don't know what the problem here is. As a feminist, I am outraged, wrote Sydney Bear. A Winnipeg teen is calling into question what she says is sexist dress code in place at her school. Sydney Bear, 14, wrote a 4-page letter to River East Transconia school division trustees after she says she was confronted a number of times by teachers about what she wore to school. Boys and girls already have to deal with their insecurities while picking clothes to wear to school. They shouldn't have to be scared of what the administration will think about the clothes that they choose to wear that make them confident and happy, Bear writes in her letter. My biggest concern is this is teaching women to be ashamed of their bodies, and it will continue teaching young men that it's okay to objectify women. In the letter, Bear describes feeling embarrassed as teachers asked her to cover up as other classmates watch or public request to speak to her outside the classrooms about her clothing. Another student said she was asked to wear a winter jacket inside to cover the skin that was visible outside of her t-shirt. Policies related to what students are permitted to wear, she says, are inconsistent. They have diminished her excitement, enthusiasm for school. Some of the teachers have said said not very nice things to me in class a few times. They even yelled at me, Bear said on Friday, holding a shirt she has been asked to change out of at school. It's 5-finger width, she says, referring to the shirt's fabric that covers her shoulder. You can't see my bra strap, and they told me I need to go change. As a feminist, I'm outraged. I don't know why outrage as a feminist. I don't get that part of it. Bear says the boys at her school are not expected to comply with the dress code, and the policies accommodate them. Teenage boys with raging hormones will be distracted no matter what, she writes. Instead of making it my problem to make it easier for them, let's teach them they need to learn how to control themselves with these distractions. Plus, she says the dress code will not make a difference for pubescent boys. If you think for 1 second that covering up my bra strap or my shoulder will stop boys my age from having these inappropriate thoughts, you're dead wrong, Bear writes. Still, she acknowledges that her perspective may not be a popular one. Maybe this won't make the impact I want. Maybe society will just categorize me as a troublemaker, wanting to dress provocatively, but this is yet another cry from us females to change this. Girls around the world trying to fight to change the objectification and harassment about women and their bodies. Both girls and boys have supported her stance at the school, she says. Bear's mother, Tabitha, is proud of her daughter for questioning the policy. I just want her to be able to go to school, she said. I don't want them to be worried about the dress code or sitting out of class. Dress codes are fluid, says the superintendent. According to the River East School Division, Superintendent Kelly Barkman, the division has one dress code that is enforced differently at each school. These dress codes can be fluid, he said. They're usually built with consultation with other staff and senior levels, for example, with the students. Recommended Bear explore the dress code carefully. Then he says she may see that the rules must be respectful of all students. Bear and her mother have met with her school's principal. Now she says they're waiting to meet with the school trustees. Now, the only thing I can think about this story, and it could be wrong, but doesn't generally turn out that way, so I'm going to go out on a limb here a little bit. I would garner to say that this, if you can't wear a T-shirt to school, then we have a problem. We have the schools wanting to teach explicit sexual gratification methods, if you will, to extraordinarily young children. But this 14-year-old girl who is wearing a T-shirt is being screwed with. So you got a really mixed message going on here, extremely mixed message. You have, you have the education system basically turning the children into acceptable pedophile product. And then these girls at 14 or something. And I got a funny feeling this has to do something with the Muslim immigration system here, where women are supposed to be totally covered all the time. When in the history of this place, in the modern times anyways, was this ever a problem? Never was. You have gay parades running all over the place, transgendered washrooms all over the place. Everything is lewd as possible. Everything is as disgusting as possible. You've got the premiers with, dancing around with their gay pride flags and stuff. I think the White House lit itself up in the gay pride colors and picking on this girl. What are you picking on the girls for? Right? And I would say it has something to do with the onslaught of Islam is what I would think this has to do. Could be wrong. Maybe we just have some prudish principles. Could be wrong. But I don't think so. I just wish people would just jump on the school boards and jump on their local councils. I mean, we have got to pull these people out of their rat holes and put them front and center so that they they know that we know what they're up to. Really got to get that going here quick. Let's see. I got to say one thing. I really enjoyed my chat with Mike Walsh on Sunday. I really, truly did enjoy that. Didn't get into much, but I think we're going to do that again and get in a whole lot deeper. I've been looking at some of this stuff in Europe a little bit closer since I did the show, and it's looking really interesting. And we have a lot to learn from what they've gone through. Let's see. Let's see what we can dig out here. I just really, I have people all the time, saying to me, did you see what Trump said? Did you see, or Clinton's going to jail, or all of this stuff about the election? I have spent basically zero time. I go out of my way not to spend any time looking at this American election. I mean, it is so bizarre, just what I see going by on headlines and that. It is beyond bizarre. And I don't understand how people are getting sucked into this thing. You don't have a president now. You didn't have a president before, and you're not going to have a president after the election. Okay, you got a dictator. Face it, folks. You got a dictator. You're under martial law, and you have a dictator. All the rest of it's window dressing. The President of the United States has his executive order, which means he can put through an order or a law or whatever you want to call it, and he can veto anything that comes up through, and he can make an executive order for anything. So you got a dictator. Face it. Face up to that and get pissed off about it, real pissed off about it. I mean, look around. America is being gutted out. They took your jobs. They took your wealth. They've indebted. It's not real debt, but they're still trying to say it's debt. Put these ridiculous numbers on you. They've been at war forever. And I'm not talking about the American people. I'm talking about the USA. And people got to come to terms with this. How do you vote? Why would you vote for a king? Because that's what Obama is. He's your king. Bush was your king before him. Right? It's the president's kingdom. And why you allow the federal government, so to speak, the kingdom is only 10 square miles. The corporate kingdom is only 10 square miles. So how is this king putting out laws that affects everybody? How does this king put out laws that runs people off their land? Well, why? Simple, because people put up with it. As long as you put up with it, well, it ain't going to get any better, is it? Not any better at all. Let's see. What do we got here? I want everybody to have some good thoughts tonight. That's what I got to put in here. I want everybody to have some good thoughts. I have a friend that maybe going to jail tomorrow and shouldn't be going to jail tomorrow. And I'm thinking if we all think positive thoughts, he won't go to jail tomorrow. And it's one of those horrific fines of driving without a license, driving under suspension. If we all put our minds together and just fire out good thoughts, that maybe we will get the outcome, the deserved outcome, not the legal outcome thereafter, which will severely affect this gentleman's life. They throw him in jail even for a week. That takes away from his employment, takes away from his ability to pay his bills, and puts unnecessary stress on him and his family. And it really makes me throw up. We see all over the place that, cop kicks the shit out of 80-year-old woman or something and has been, put on desk duty for a little while with, of course, full pay and benefits. And then people are being totally ripped off in the so-called court system. Those who are not part of the system, okay, the police, the judges, the prosecutors, and all this kind of stuff, who all feed off of the general public. And when one of them gets in trouble, nothing seems to happen to them. Or they'll drag it out so long till people forget all about it, and then they'll just sneak it in there and go, oh, well, after consideration and everything, to push forward with this conviction of a thug, a legislated thug who beats up old women and old men and young children and those with mental problems, loses no pay, loses no job. And then people all over this country and pretty much any other country are being thrown in jail or having their pockets picked for these so-called offenses that have harmed no one. Yet those who caused the harm get their full paycheck, full benefits, and nothing happens to them. You don't see too many doctors they may get brought up in front of their committee, their society. The doctors police the doctors, the police police the police, the lawyers police the lawyers. And when one of them does something wrong, it stays out of the limelight. It's dealt with behind closed doors for the most part. And the victim, well, you were a victim of the police or the law system or the medical system. Well, we're just going to let that slide. And we'll do everything in our power to dump the problem over in your lap because we have to protect our own. And I think that's an important message. If they're all protecting their own, then we need to start protecting our own. And our own is everybody that's not in these closed societies, okay? Be it the education, they protect themselves. And like I said, the doctors, the lawyers, the judges, politicians, they all protect themselves and they all protect each other. The rest of us, of course, don't protect each other. Okay, that's our problem. We fail to protect ourselves. And that's what we got to do. Just like they do. Okay, we got to come forth and protect each other from these guys who protect themselves, who take advantage of us, who for the most part feed off of us. And I think that's the main problem. See, in the old days when you had neighborhoods, the neighborhood pretty much looked out for the neighborhood. You come into the neighborhood and you start stealing stuff and screwing with people, it ain't going to be long before you know what kind of neighborhood you're in. That's what we got to get back to. As long as we're allowing all these people to run the protection rackets and the safety rackets and the education rackets, we lose. Because we're not looking out for our own. We're not protecting our own. We're allowing the thieves, the vagabonds, who have built these societies for themselves, to feed on us, to steal from us, to screw with the children's minds, to screw with their health. So we need to start looking out for each other, because the rest of them have gone rabid on us. It's like a bunch of rabid dogs looking for a chunk of your flesh. So we need to start some sort of a pushback situation here. I do know there's some apps out there now where if a cop pulls somebody over, I first saw that in Alaska, where cop pulls somebody over and thinks they can do what they want because they're a cop and they got somebody on a road out alone. That once the people once the one that's pulled over hits the app, people are alerted all over the place, and they drop what they're doing, just like firemen would be headed for a fire, and they get to that location quick, and explain to the officer that the hood has arrived, the neighborhood has arrived, and you're not going to harm this person because this one is one of ours. Is one of our neighbors, and we're here to look out for their best interest. And you apparently are not in their best interest. Now, if they've broken a law, that they've harmed somebody, fine. They have to deal with that. But if you're just out here picking their pockets and harassing them, and if they look crooked at you, give them one of these, you can beat them up because they resisted arrest kind of thing, and you have the okay to beat the living shit out of them and they can't fight back against you, well, the neighborhood better show up. And if you want to get your country back, you better get your neighborhood back. Because if you ain't got control of your neighborhood, you ain't got control of nothing. Somebody else has got control of you. And it ain't been working out good for us, folks. And the plan they got for the future just gets worse. It's time to roll up your sleeves and strengthen your mind and strengthen your spine and just say, you know what? This is our neighborhood. And we'll deal with it. And you won't hurt our people. We won't stand by when you go around shooting mentally incapacitated people that couldn't harm anybody if they tried. Or beating up on old ladies, or shooting people's dogs. I mean, how the hell? That dog's been in the neighborhood for 10 years. And you roll in here with your tasers and your handguns and that, and your spray and all the rest of the shit you got, and this dog's been wandering around the neighborhood for 10 years, hasn't bothered anybody. Somehow you feel threatened and turn around and kill somebody's pet? Time to get the hood back. Time to take the neighborhood back, one at a time. Need to lock down our neighborhoods, and we got to control them and get that spread across the countryside, and then we can start taking back our country. Have a great night, everybody, and think really positive thoughts tonight and tomorrow through at least noon. And maybe we can stop one of our neighbors sending up behind bars Okay, everybody have a great night. We'll talk to you Thursday, same time, same place. And we are out of here. Take care. Bye-bye.